November 13th, 2022. Moscow, Idaho. A quiet college town, the kind of place where neighbors trust each other, and violent crime feels almost impossible. But in the early hours of that Sunday morning, something unthinkable happened. 4 University of Idaho students were brutally murdered inside their off-campus home. And for weeks, no one knew who did it. The victims were young, full of life, full of plans. Kaylee Gonsalves, Madison Mogan, Zaina Kernodle, and Ethan Chapin. They had spent the evening like any other college students, laughing, socializing, enjoying a normal Saturday night. By sunrise, everything had changed. Sometime between 4 and 25 a.m., an intruder entered their 3-story house. There were no signs of forced entry. 2 surviving roommates were inside the home at the time. One of them later told investigators she saw a masked man dressed in black walking past her in the hallway. She froze. He walked out the sliding glass door and vanished into the night. When police arrived later that day, they encountered a crime scene that shocked even experienced investigators. The small college town of Moscow was no longer peaceful. Fear spread quickly. Parents called their children. Students locked their doors. Rumors flooded social media. And still, there were no public answers. Weeks passed. Then investigators revealed their first major lead. Surveillance cameras had captured a white Hyundai Elantra driving near the victim's home multiple times during the early morning hours of the murders. The car circled the area, slowly, almost deliberately. The vehicle was identified as a white Hyundai Elantra. Authorities asked the public for help. And then they found a match. The car was registered to a graduate student at Washington State University, just 10 miles away from the crime scene. His name was Bryan Kohberger, a 28-year-old PhD student in criminology. He studied criminal behavior. He studied forensic psychology. He studied the minds of killers. But that alone was not enough. Police needed something stronger. And then they found it. At the crime scene, investigators discovered a knife sheath left behind on one of the beds. On the snap button of that sheath, they located a single source of male DNA. Using genetic genealogy, investigators traced the DNA to the Kohberger family line. Weeks later, while Bryan was visiting his family in Pennsylvania for the holidays, law enforcement conducted surveillance. They collected trash from the family home. The DNA matched. On December 30th, 2022, Bryan Kohberger was arrested. Calm, silent, almost emotionless. As more details emerged, the case became even chilling. Prosecutors revealed that Kohberger's cell phone had pinged near the victim's house multiple times in the months leading up to the murders. On the night of the killings, his phone suddenly stopped reporting data right before the estimated time of death. It turned back on shortly after. Investigators also placed his white Hyundai Elantra near the scene through surveillance footage. Piece by piece, a digital trail formed. But questions remained. There was no murder weapon recovered, no confirmed motive publicly revealed. Why those victims? Was he watching them? Was this random? Or was it planned with precision? Former classmates described Kohberger as intelligent but socially distant. Some said he struggled socially. Others said he was deeply interested in how criminals think. Years earlier, he had even posted an online survey asking criminals about their emotions during crimes. What were they thinking? What were they feeling? Now, many wondered, was he researching for academic purposes or something far more disturbing? As the legal battle continues, the nation remains divided. Prosecutors argue the DNA, phone data, and vehicle evidence form a powerful case.
The defense argues the evidence is circumstantial. They insist he is innocent. And until a verdict is reached, Bryan Kohberger remains a suspect awaiting trial. But beyond the courtroom, this case left scars. 4 young lives were taken. Families were shattered. A community was changed forever. And millions of people across America were forced to confront a chilling reality. Sometimes, the person studying crime may be closer to it than anyone realizes. The trial is still unfolding. The final chapter has not yet been written. And until justice speaks, the mystery of the Idaho murders continues. Because sometimes, the most terrifying monsters don't hide in the shadows. They learn how to blend into them.